where pastors are formed what they call an association where they help one another. So there is some kind of table banking. And then this association, when there are meetings, if there's a visiting pastor, or if there's a common meeting, they have other common meetings, common cashiers. So in these setups, resources can be shared. And recently there was a meeting which involved community leaders. And there were pledges of finances to help in the self-help group. Actually, the area MP promised that they will give 3 million shillings to help the association buy the land where they will be able to put up the social hall.
Not for any church, but for the whole group?
No, for the group. For the group.
Okay. Now, what was the common interest? Start with from the beginning. What was their common interest?
The common interest, it started as a fellowship of pastors.
They want to help each other as pastors.
Yes.
They want to encourage each other.
Yes.
The common interest is encouragement.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that they can also empower their churches.
Okay.
So when they are churches, the meetings are held in a common place. Like today, church A, and next week, church B, like that. And all the pastors will be there.
Okay.
When they are open air meetings, all the pastors come together.
Okay. So they have a common interest?
Yes.
They have agreed in which areas they will collaborate?
Yes.
And then what challenges have they faced?
One of the challenges is sometimes when money comes in, there are people who feel that I should be entitled to more. Those are challenges.
They did not agree up front in case we get money.
There, but you see, these are an association that is growing. There are members who are there initially, there are others who are coming newer. So when money comes in, you might find somebody feeling like I came the other day, but I should get as much as those ones who were there earlier. There are those ones who might feel that I should get, I'm senior, we have a bigger church.
You are not saying should feel, who felt. You are talking about a real being.
Yes, we are talking about what's happening.
Okay.
Yes.
They feel, so how can you, I was the founder of this thing.
Yes.
How can you came the other day, how can you get
like
this?
When the man was promised, 3 million shillings, there are people who are just joined. So the following day, people felt, why don't we divide this money? Instead
of building a place.
Yes, the money we can share with one another. It is a challenge.
Okay. And how have they sorted out the challenge?
So I think they agreed that the money will not be shared. There are those ones who felt that now this money we can just share out the thing is solved. So it was agreed that the original objective should be followed.
They will get the land and start building.
Yes.
Okay. Have they gained anything? I can see they are going to gain. What have they gained so far since the collaboration started?
Financially.
The money from the MP?
No. We are not in the bank. I'm actually in that group.
Okay.
Yes.
And okay, let's start with you. Yes. In which way has you and your church gained?
Now, I had a meeting, and they were able to come together, pool the resources. We had a visitor who was coming from outside the country. So, housing the pastor, feeding him, moving around. Was
done by the whole group?
Yes.
Therefore, lowering your personal and church costs?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything else you want to say?
Then, we looked at another group. There's a group there's another group which is an association that caters for the widows. And this involves churches. Some are bigger, some are smaller. And from what we gather is that when they are giving, a bigger church usually might give more. And it's like they move from one church to another. So when these resources come, there is that feeling also of, we have had complaints that when you come to here because you are small, we are small, it looks like we don't give as much as when we are in the other bigger church. So there are complaints on perceptions from some members.
How have you sorted it out? Or is it a current problem?
Resistance,
Yeah.
there are people who feel, no, this is not the right group. So the leadership decided to soldier on. Because there will be always people who...
Oh, some people dropped off.
They might drop, or they might... Oh yeah, some have dropped, sorry. Yeah, some might pull out.
And some have pulled out.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The last one.
Oh, okay.
I think what we looked at as common challenges is there are issues of trust, honestly. There is one group where money was raised. The treasurer took over the money.
Up to today,
yes,
they have not recovered the money.
The money has never been received. The chairperson, the person who was given the money to keep. So I think that is what we are looking at. And then sometimes greed might make you have a sense of bigger entitlement. I started this one, the bigger charge.
Let me stop you there. I can see you have more information, so I'm not asking whether you are done. I know you are not done. Please give back the mic. Can we clap for him? That's a fantastic. Within a short time, they even have more information. Wow, another clap. That was a wonderful group. Now walk across right to the other side and pick a table of your choice. I know the middle tables might be wondering, have I forgotten them? But generally speaking, the ones that I've normally forgotten are the ones far away. So I want to be sure we don't forget them. Okay. You have given the mic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, our table, we are looking into collaboration that have been there and the experience that we have had. And we have shared that at that time we had a problem with purchasing land for our churches and maybe paying for leases or rent. So we had to come together 13 churches and we were raising around 20,000 every month. And then every church was purchasing like 20,000 and then we come together. Then we support the initiative that was in one particular church. So that initiative was to go for the whole year. And then we...
So when you have enough money, you clear one church.
Yes.
Then you go to the next church.
Yes.
Okay.
So we did it for the first round, the first year, the second year. But now the third year, the pandemic...
COVID visited you.
COVID-19 visited us.
Yeah.
And then we are now to collapse because there were no members in our churches. And online services were being carried on maybe on basis of a personal church. So that thing came to an end. But
by that time, had you bought land for any?
yes, we had purchased land for 7 churches.
7 churches, and you are how many?
We are 13.
So wow, that is more than 60% or something, isn't it? Well done. Now, COVID has ended. Now tell us what has happened since the COVID ended.
So the 7 churches we had acquired land.
Yeah.
We had built permanent churches for 3 churches.
Yeah.
And then we had purchased CSC scheme for around 4 churches.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic came in, and then we parted ways from 2021 to from 2020, late 2020 to 2021 December. And then by 2023, we also came together, but some few people who are maybe the last numbers felt like that they want to change, so they pulled out of the group, so we remained almost around 80.
You could not assure them it was just a comma, not a full stop. You are starting again.
Maybe the level of the understanding was maybe a big problem or an issue.
So communication may have been a problem.
Yes.
Then it produced trust.
I tried to talk to them, tell them it was not intentional. These are natural calamities that are coming, let us continue, but they pulled out. But we are still continuing now.
The 7 that have churches,
yes.
We are still working together.
Yes. Now we are, after we have purchased land for church and maybe common houses, now we are trying to to do ministerial cars for pastors so that we will not be according to our members, so that we buy at least you build a house at home as a pastor, and maybe you buy a material car.
So your next project is all the 7 pastors will have a house and a car.
It has already started.
Okay. But I'm talking about your intention.
Yes, already 2 pastors have 2 cars. We have bought 2 cars for 2 pastors, and we are constructing 3 houses for 3 pastors. So it is the process.
Are they not going to, the ones that are behind, will they not fear again that there will not be 7 cars? Have you decided to reorganize yourself such that you are sure, so that there is an assurance?
Okay, for the first time we were collecting money on the table and then we do things, but now we have advanced. We have now opened an account that we put this money in our account so that maybe something happens next time, maybe we can have a guarantee of the shares.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Now you come to the middle and pick a table. I think we clap for them. It's taking longer than my time was available, but I know this is the problem of participation. It's a very effective method of teaching, but it takes time. We are listening.
We discussed 3, and I'll share 1. I'm a pastor with the Redeemed Gospel Church in Slim, Section 3, Redeemed Gospel Church. Our church, together with about over 20 others, we have a fellowship, and the senior pastor who is around happens to be the chairman. And we meet every Tuesday from 9 to 12 for prayers in the church, in our church. Our church is a bit bigger, and so the other churches come there, but when there is need, we meet in others, but that is the central meeting place. The main reason for meeting is largely Islamic, and so we thought if we keep divided, we'll be beaten in so many areas and oppressed in so many things, so we meet mainly for prayer. And in the course of it, we decided to handle a few other things together, including supporting at family level the pastors that have issues like their bereavements and they have issues with the church that they need some assistance to come together and assist them. Nothing very structured. But later we decided we'll be doing other activities together. Those include doing youth kesha or youth rallies, activities for women things. Every year we have at least 2 or so trainings for the pastors. And that way, as we come together, we've realized that we get to identify, as you say, the expertise that are in other churches, the resources that are in the other churches, different churches. We've realized that even when we want to plan a big thing and probably do not have space, we know where we can get space easily from our colleagues without looking like strangers. And even now, as we talk, we have a big event coming on that we thought could not even be hosted by any of the churches because of the size of the population expected, called United Worship Encounter, that is sponsored by friends from the US through one of the French churches. And all the churches are organizing together and even inviting churches outside the Kamukunji area, within the whole Kamukunji and outside. Speakers are key people, key preachers here in the city, archbishops and the rest that are coming together. And that way, we have found it easier to host even the international speakers coming to us. It becomes cheaper because we collaborate together, we support each other together. And when it comes to issues that affect our neighborhoods, even issues that are not spiritual as such, we are able to come together and write letters to government as an association, as a welfare, as a united front of pastors. And the leaders are able to listen to us. We are able to penetrate hard areas. And we found that quite useful to us.
Thank you.
In terms of challenges,
Your last statement.
challenges have not been many, but somebody said when some people feel smaller and others feel big, at least that probably was there at the initial stages, but has been dealt with through the leadership in place, because the leaders are quite mature people, so people are more or less very comfortable, although we still do not need to have people dragging their feet, people that are usually slow movers that you find that might be passed by an event, but more generally doing very good, and thank God.
Can we clap for them? Now, all the other stories, if you actually write it down, my friend George Maboreo will ensure everybody else hears about it. I know I've not requested him in advance. But now that there is WhatsApp, see, we can get the message. Is that okay? Groups, are you willing to write nicely so that it doesn't have to be typed? If you write legibly, it will be just posted in WhatsApp and you all read the story. Remember, you follow the question. What parties, what is the project about? What is the provision about? What parties were involved? What was the common interest? What were the challenges? How are they sorted out? What was the gain? How was the gain shared? Is that clear? So please, we actually should promise to actually share it, because this will help people to know collaboration is not an American idea, it's not a British idea, it's a local idea. Do you agree with me? And we saw earlier it's a biblical idea. So that I have to fight. Since I can see you already know the subject, I will not spend a lot of time on it, because clearly I'm not speaking something that is very, very new. But that is really impressive. It sounds like there's collaboration almost in every direction. And if with the time, would have actually have had more and more of it, which is now not actually possible. So, listening to all those people, we want to ask our question: what are the key indicators of a vibrant collaboration leadership? In all of them, the key word was synergy. What is synergy? Synergy is the extra production that comes from working together. That means I can lift 10 pounds. George is bigger than me, he can lift 20. If we work separately, we will have lifted 30. Am I calculating correctly? When you actually now design the thing to work together, we will end up lifting 35. The extra 5 is a product of synergy. And that's why we work together. Number 2, if you listen to the people, various people, they say when you work together, we have impact. The last one says, even now approaching government, approaching political leaders, society, to affect not just the issues, the immediate issues of the group, but the societal impact. Then they have talked about commonly owned nation. They had something that was common. They had a common mission, common vision, common values, common strategies and objectives. Now, obviously, they did not use those words. Now that you have come for this training, can you start using those words? You say our collaboration. What do we actually want to achieve to the end? Write it down. What is the vision? What do we actually want to see at the end? And we mention what shall we do to achieve it, and what are our non-negotiable convictions. When we are together, these are our values. And outside of these values, it's okay for the group to die. A group must agree in advance that these are the values. Once they agree the values, then anybody who breaks them is dealt with without a discussion, in the sense that he agreed right up to the front that this is the way they are going to operate. A lot of collaboration dies because of lack of agreed core values. And the trouble with the people group is that they start discussing it later. You know, for example, they are working together and then they help in the wedding of the daughter of the chairman. But it was never discussed whether it's part of it. Now, a little later, my daughter also wants to get married. So no, this group doesn't cover daughters' marriages. How come you cover the chairman? It means you are not clear about what you are about, and you are not clear about your values, isn't it? Or we'll be covering weddings when they are pure. Then the daughter of the chairman is pregnant before the wedding. And we end up with the problems. So you need to agree for a group to run well up front. When there is no quarrel, that's why people agree very easily. Because nobody has made a mistake, isn't it? Now you talk and you're not about anybody. You say these are our values. They have to be agreed way in advance. Then you talk about networking, how you do something and I do something, we all help and pursue harmony and always hope that nobody in the group will not win. That's what we are calling a win-win situation. And we have covered quite a lot. The group also talked about challenges. Let me talk about a few of the challenges that you have already mentioned and are in my notes. Finding and connecting with high potential partners. You know, if you are so keen on collaboration, you could collaborate with a crook. Because after all, what matters is collaboration. Now, when the crook comes, all the gains will go to the crook, isn't it? If only you had not collaborated, you would have moved forward. When the thing breaks up, you'll be back where you began. I'm not communicating. So collaborating with a crook is worse than no. You better have no collaboration. So the most big important challenge is, who are you dealing with? Don't hurry the matter. If somebody says, I have this idea, yes. When do you want? I want it by next month, you must start. You haven't even got to know each other. You need a few fellowships where you know each other. So if somebody has, I normally talk to young people and I tell girls, if a boy meets you and he wants to marry you that year, be suspicious, he has another wife, he doesn't want to discover. There must be something causing him to want to marry in a hurry. So collaboration is a marriage. So when you want, without any preparation, no discussion, now surely we are losing. Let's start next week. But we don't even know each other. So the first challenge is, will you spend enough time getting to know each other, finding out whether you really are potential partners, ensuring strategic fit with the partner's mission and faith. What are you? You need to, don't just worry about the common interest. What are other interests? You must discover on these common interests you are in agreement. But they have other interests which you don't agree with. And by agreeing on this one, you might get associated with the other one. When they go to jail, you go to eat ugali together. Or because somehow the people investigating the thing thought you are also connected. So you must study this guy. Don't just worry about the common interests. What are his vision and mission and values? Who are they? Where are they going? I agree, you don't have to agree to go there. But is that something you'd want to be associated with? And thirdly, generating greater value for each partner in society. In other words, when we work together, you hear there are many challenges. If the product is the same as of the bad by working alone, isn't it better to work alone? The only reason you collaborate is if it's going to produce extra gain, which you could not have had on your own. So you must, well before you start, see what is the extra gain. Then you have to deal with the challenge of managing the partnership relationship effectively. Once you are together, and I've been involved in business, in joint ventures, they create many problems. So that's why at the beginning, you have a JV agreement, joint venture agreement, that talks about all the issues. You predict all the problems, and they enter into the document. So you don't wait until a problem comes to sort it out. It's sorted out before it starts. That's what you are running earlier, being proactive. Are we together? And it will be important to understand, because let's be clear, there is no way you have a joint venture, you have a collaboration without problems. Can we agree? I have written a small book called Overcoming Marriage Challenges. And I tell young people, because I've written it for young people, if you stay with a woman, I'm telling the boys, for 2 years, and she has never disagreed with you, please be very worried. That marriage is in trouble. Because she's bottling up, isn't it? The day she bows, you may be dead. You need to understand. It's dangerous to be in a marriage where your partner never. So when your wife quarrels you, start by saying, hallelujah, she's here. Let's say, how can we sort out the problem? Because lack of problems or lack of noticing problem does not mean they are not there. So you need to understand, once you enter collaboration, it's not that there will be no problems. It's that the gain far outweighs the cost. Are we together? But you must know the cost, isn't it? In case the costs add up to be higher. So it's important that and it's going to be a challenge. So what we're after is a win-win situation for both partners, necessary for the needs of for both of them to be willing to go on. I'm going towards finishing. Collaborative leadership process, the process. And I think you already have dealt with it, but let me just look at a few. The first thing, for those of you who are not yet in a collaboration, or those ones where they are not collaborated in certain areas, the first thing is common interest. There's no need of asking me to be involved in something and have no interest. For example, let's have a common thing to be arranging weddings together, and I have no child. So I just keep donating money for other people's weddings. Now, am I communicating? For good collaboration, there must be common interest. So don't agree, let's be together. There may be hidden agenda. If you see somebody who has no child intending to join your group of financing weddings, maybe you want to steal all the money. You need to understand. You need to find out what is the common interest. What is the common interest? What is it that we all have a common interest about? That is step number one. Step number two, common operational principles and processes. Some people don't agree the same way. I had one group I attended there, is that they agree to collaborate. Whenever they are left to work with by their parents, they collaborate. Then one person wants to see the rest at the beginning, then just before the parents arrive, they start working. Says, what about if the parents are not finished? Another says, no, we start, we rest, we do, we rest. Now, you need to understand, until you agree a common process, it will not work everything. So don't start until you agree what are the procedures. How will this thing be done? It will be important to, for example, in the joint venture I was talking about, the big issue is, remember your competitors in the market, fighting to the nail in the market, but in the depot you are a joint venture. If there is a way, what about if all the tankers that come belong to company A, and company 2B never gets somebody until about midday? In the end, all the conversation of company A will be having petrol in Nairobi, company B will not get. So all customers will move. Can you see the JV will kill what? The JV will kill somebody, isn't it? So you must agree in advance. How do you know the tankers? What will be the queuing, we used to call it queuing process? Who comes what? Is it fast time? What about if the other one gun up and come at night? So when you come in the morning, they all ahead. Are they allowed to block everybody else? Am I communicating? So think about that. How do you deal with it? Because you have to deal with it. So agree. All of that time, we have not yet started the JV. You are agreeing common operational principles and processes. Then clarifying strategic advantages. What are, if you do this, what's the advantage? If you do that, what's the advantage? So what should we do? Then you now finally agree a strategy for the JV. It doesn't matter what company A does, doesn't matter what company B does, this JV, this is the way we shall do things. And then finally, you come, it is not be a collaboration unless you agree how to execute and how to share credit. And then you must agree, like if a JV, you agree the management, the steering committee must meet every quarter to review whether you are getting the gains you thought you would get. You need regular evaluation. Now we are not meeting to discuss the operations, how they are running. You are coming to see, are we actually meeting our key performance indicators? Are we together? And those key performance need to be agreed from the beginning before the collaboration actually starts. You evaluate. And once you evaluate, you now can sit together and change some procedures in order for you to gain even more. So, I have emphasized to you, conflict is automatic. And it does not mean, but you're saying, Brother Nyanya, don't you understand? We are Christians. These are churches come to be coming together. My friend, that doesn't stop. Surely, who is holier than Paul and Peter? In the book of Galatians, are they not having a conflict? Are they not having a conflict? So and since you know you're not holy, but you need to understand that you should expect there will be conflict within your, whatever, however serious, however agreed you are doctrinally, there will be something as long as we are in this world. So, conflict, causes of conflict will be something on competing for scarce resources or even scarce expertise. We have already talked about that. Scarce supplies. What about conflicting values? I've talked about that. What about competing interests? What about unwillingness to share credit? Self-degrading. You know, people are worried. Yes, that something has happened, there's wonderful result, and when they are talking, they are saying, Church A, look at what we can do. They don't even mention the small churches. Are they going to continue your operation? No. We need to understand that this is not your church. This is our collaboration. So when you talk about it, don't talk about your church, talk about the collaboration and what is happening there. Like you now go for the big crusade in Isiri, or the Tamakoji. And then the one church, which the MC is from Osasija, he says, look at the kind of speaker we have brought you. You brought nobody. It's the collaboration that brought the speaker. Credit can kill a collaboration. You need to admit everybody did, however little, something that brought the thing to be. So, since you can see these issues are going to arise, the important thing is to resolve the conflict. And how do you do that? Create a safe environment for parties to share their perspective on the conflict. My normal procedure is, if I'm going to be involved in a group, I tell people, Christian group, I tell people we start with a meeting where we're not discussing the common interests. We just know each other. I call it, don't apply your testimony. Divide it. In mathematics, you can be allowed to apply a formula or, do you remember mathematics? Divide means you go back to the basics, isn't it? And you know, I can meet you, and you say, yes, I love the Lord. That's not a testimony. Dividing a testimony telling me how you are before, like Paul would say, how you are before you are saved, what happened for you to get saved, and what has happened since. That's called dividing testimony. Because you're not going to collaborate with somebody you don't know. The other day I had a shock of my life. One of the university student leaders said they are visiting us, and my wife. So they came. After some time they said, tell us about yourself. One boy, giving his testimony, said, when I came to university, I had interest in mission. And I joined the mission group. But nobody knew I'm not saved. The only trouble is, when we go for a mission, people get saved and I'm not saved. I started getting embarrassed. And they know that I'm not saved. So I asked him, what did you do? He decided, since he has a conviction, he will attend a different meeting and get saved elsewhere and come back saved. And that's what he did. So you need to understand, you may be collaborating with people going to hell, and I'm not communicating. So it's important to understand if you are going to collaborate, the basics must be understood. You may be collaborating with a church which is not evangelical in its nature and in its pursuit. Anyway, there are certain doctrines that must be agreed before you collaborate. Explore the root causes of conflict and then agree on principles that are being violated. In other words, the reason why there is a conflict here is because somebody's pride was hurt. The reason there are problems here is because there was sin. The reason, find out what it is. And once you know the principle being violated, facilitate acceptance or responsibility in conflict. Don't cover it up. Let somebody say, yes, I did wrong. And let the matter be said, how can we help you not to be regular in your wrongness? You know, because you want the mates, we must all help you, isn't it? So it's important that there is no way you cover a conflict by covering it up. Because the moment you cover it, what will happen is that next time he realizes I can do it again. After all they will do is just a slap on the shoulder. It's not what there must be. But this thing, unfortunately, I said earlier, must be agreed at the start, isn't it? When somebody does this kind of sin, this is what actually happens. Even when I was parenting, my children are in their 40s. But when I was parenting, that's what we agreed with my small children. We agreed, when you do this kind of sin, 3 belts. This other one, 2 belts. This one, 2 belts. So when they see something wrong, they say, why don't you bring the belts now, Papa? But they already know this is equal to This, and there's no hatred. It's an agreed thing. Agreed when we're all happy until there's something happened. Am I communicating? So the collaboration must agree when this happens, when this goes wrong, this is what we do. So that the person does not think he is hated. He knows it was agreed wherein advance. You can agree if somebody needs money, they must pay. How will they pay? They are going to attack his salary. In advance. Now he knows. He doesn't say, hey, what do you think my children will eat? Now it was agreed in advance. I'm not going to get it. If you don't do that, then collaboration will die because you did not set up clear procedures that can handle the conflict. So facilitate confession, forgiveness, and restitutions among parties. Identify principles that need to be embraced to end conflict. Then, the key thing, promote reconciliation. Anybody can fail. It will be karaoke today, it will be Otieno tomorrow. So we are discussing karaoke. It's better for Otieno to prepare. Are we together? So that we are not feeling, what's wrong with them? Let's find a way of reconciling. Are we together? And knowing the blood of Jesus is adequate to cover every sin. Am I right? So there must be forgiveness for collaboration to actually continue. So, what we would want is the conflict brings transformation. Identify principles that need to be embraced to avoid recurrence of conflict, explore different means for strengthening partnership, increase incentives for conflict recurrence, facilitate renewal of contract for partnership. What here we are saying is that your collaboration must not go on without end. We must agree. We are collaborating for 10 years. After 10 years, we review. Are we together? Because even if you don't put a deadline, it might die on its own. It's better a structured death than one without a structure. Am I communicating? So create regular review and review. And what your agreement says is that at the time of review, we can agree how to part happily. Are we together? So that needs to be something agreed in the collaboration. It cannot be, well, we are together. Okay, marriage, that's one, until death do us. That collaboration is for keeps. All other collaborations must have a sell-by date. And I think that will be important. Identify higher ideals or goals that all partners can commit to so that they use the strategies for greater collective impact. A collaboration relationship is like a dance between two partners. Their relationship needs to be built and nurtured as the dance progresses. The music drives the working relationship for the two parties. Similarly, partners need to lead collaboration by maintaining healthy relationship with others, right relationship with competitors and opponents. Now, starting with that example of a dance did not come from me. When I got saved in the 1960s, dancing was a sin. It was one way of setting me to hell. So whenever people want to dance, I wonder whether they want to go to hell. Now, that's for them. In the East African revival, they didn't believe in people getting involved in dance. So I even now I don't know what to do. If I dance with you, I'll step on you. But I never learned. It was a sin to learn, so how could I learn? Now, but the important thing is, if you are going to work together, you must keep the relationship. That means even if there is no business meeting for the collaboration, you need to ring each other. Are we together? Buy a cup for each. And it is those meetings that are not official that will make the official meeting more progressive. Am I clear? And it's important to understand that. So, and in order to do this, to have this relationship go well, meet on regular basis, communication, celebrate early wins. Don't wait until the final win. Be quick to celebrate what you are getting, the gains you are getting along the way. Acknowledge when one partner does well. Demonstrate empathy towards one another. Empathy is place yourself in the shoes of collaboration partner, and that will be important. So, in applying the collaboration process and skills in your own context, I suggest collaboration and teamwork will require a mix of interpersonal, problem solving, and communication skills. That means it will be good for a collaboration group to seek some training in those skills that will help you to run the collaboration well. And those skills will be interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, communication skills, in order for the group to work together better. And I think that will be important. I've run out of time, but questions of application, personal relation. Describe the situation where you have collaborated with someone to achieve. We already did that, but I would like you to go and deal with it. That is the personal collaboration. Then there's organizational and society collaboration. Again, there is an exercise. So I finish with a quote. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly, whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Amen. That's great, isn't it? Yeah, we are learning. The Lord bless you so much, and John Nana, and a lot of humor as well, isn't it? Yeah, the Lord bless you. We want to get a few notices and maybe also get a more clear direction from